This is Bill Miller again, your NetApp host of CIO Central. Welcome back to our very interesting virtual interview series focusing on topics that matter most to CIOs and information technology professionals. My guest today is Milind Wagle, the CIO of Equinix, which is a highly successful Silicon Valley-based technology company. Welcome to CIO Central, Milind. It's great to see you again.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here. It's a privilege to participate in CIO Central.
Well, we're thrilled to have you as part of the this episode. And how have your teams been doing since the March 2020 pandemic lockdown that we've all been living through?
So thanks for that question, Bill. I'm sure our story is very similar to yours. First and foremost, no one had anticipated a global pandemic in their disaster recovery planning. If there was someone who had done it, I would be very surprised. So I would say the first few months or first couple of months we were operating on our adrenaline, just trying to figure out how to transition to this new way of working, and thinking that this would be more or less a short-term thing. Equinix, just like I'm sure NetApp and many other companies, we were fairly successful transitioning the workforce to a work from home model without much impact. And part of that reason, I think, is all the investments that CIOs had historically made in enabling cloud, deploying collaboration technologies, securing their network, etc. All those came in handy for this smooth transition. Now, 6 months into this, we've realized that this is not a short-term thing. The biggest challenge for us, honestly, has been just the lack of the physical social interactions that we would have in the company. And then when you think about, when you think about innovation and brainstorming that typically happens when you just bump into people in the break room and grab a whiteboard and have interactive conversations around and produce ideas, those interactions are much more intentional now than ever before. You have to make an effort. So that's a little bit of an adjustment. Having said that, what I would call, we are trying to figure out the third phase of this pandemic, which is how do we return to work and what does the new normal look like? And we are exploring different ways of just reinventing our business. That means just doubling down on some of our digital priorities. And that includes thinking about stuff like, self-service experiences, more automation, more focus on disaster recovery and operational resilience. And so we're coming up with all kinds of cool ideas for the business when we get back into the office, hopefully sometime very soon.
Milind, I'm told that the only thing you prize more than a high-performing IT organization is a high-performing cricket team. Is that true? And tell our viewers a little bit about this image.
That is very true. I mean, cricket has been a part of my life for a very long time. I grew up in India, where cricket is probably the biggest religion in the country. And the picture that you see here is me attending the World Cup last year in England. And I got to go and cheer for my team. It was super exciting for me. It was some sort of a pilgrimage, going to these cricket grounds in England and watching a World Cup game. Very, very fulfilling. And hopefully I'll get to do more of these going forward.
Well, I'm sure looking forward to the time when we can all collectively get together in a stadium and enjoy these kind of events again. I think we're all looking forward to
Absolutely.
that. Milind, you and I share some common DNA. We're both high-tech CIOs in the Bay Area selling IT solutions to other savvy CIOs and IT delivery organizations. How is this both a challenging and a fulfilling experience for you?
So, Bill, that's a great question. I mean, as you and I know, we're both part of the CIO community, and it's a very tight knit community, especially in the Bay Area. And I feel we all feel obligated to a certain extent to make each other successful. And because we all have the same set of challenges and opportunities. So we are all very real with each other every time we meet or interact with each other. If a CIO calls us, we are always taking the phone call or email. So from that standpoint, I feel that there's empathy and sympathy between CIOs that all the time. From a challenging standpoint, as you know, we all have to be in sales mode every now and then. And I try to make sure that I'm not coming across as a salesperson to my peers. I want to make sure that, I maintain the credibility that I have without getting into any kind of, salesy transactional mode.
Hey, I love to ask professional CIOs such as you, how do you manage to the needs of the enterprise, business first and technology second? I know you to be a very logical and thoughtful leader, and how do you put that principle into practice on a daily basis at Equinix?
Digital transformation is not fundamentally a technology transformation, but it's a business transformation enabled by technology. So it's very important to understand what business outcomes you're trying to achieve as part of your digital transformation objectives. When it comes to IT, I think it's important to realize that we are not distinct from the business. Just like business stakeholders in HR, finance, legal, IT people are also business people with technology specialization. So, and I think that mindset is very important to be reminded for our teams. What I try to emphasize with my teams is the importance of business acumen, understanding what business problems we are trying to solve. And then related to that, I emphasize business relationships, communication, and influence skills because I feel every IT leader needs to have those skills because they are interacting with all levels of the organization. And then finally, I'll say as IT professionals, we're expected to always be at the cutting edge of technology. So understanding what's out there and connecting the possible value of a technology to a business outcome and making that connection for our stakeholders is super important.
Milind, you and I spend a lot of time liaising with colleagues and other CIOs, and when I go around industry, one of the criticisms I hear of IT shops is that they can't move at the pace of the business. Right? They're not responsive enough. What do you and your IT teams do, and what skills do you depend upon to maintain and further achieve IT agility?
I think ever since I've been in the IT world, expecting IT to be more agile, deliver faster has always been an expectation. And I think it's an expectation that's understandable and it's probably amplified by the fact that the world around us is changing very rapidly. There's a lot of disruption happening to entire companies, business models, and organizations. And so it's important for IT organizations to respond with the same set of urgency and agility. Having said that, I think this is more of a mindset thing than a technology or a methodology thing. So it needs to start with a clear change in mindset. And you need to have a mindset of delivering value incrementally and with speed. And so you have to adjust your methodology in this case to then not expect perfection in the artifacts, but figure out a way to get your teams together to deliver value as a cohesive unit. And so you need to have the mindset that you're going to probably make some mistakes along the way, but it's also important to adjust and adopt and measure along the way so that you're adjusting appropriately, but delivering in smaller spurts and delivering value incrementally is going to make everyone more successful.
Hey, let's kick it back upstairs for a second and talk a little bit about Equinix, the company, and the value proposition. I mean, I think everybody recognizes Equinix is an incredibly powerful data center colo offering that gives you this global coverage. But I tend to think of the company as this kind of low latency, high performance on ramp to the cloud. And you offer enterprises a wonderful array of advantages that other kind of colo suppliers don't. I think you offer your customers great cost versus performance trade-offs, and really access to what I would call the best the cloud can offer today. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, Bill, first and foremost, I would say NetApp is probably experiencing these trends too. These are undisputed trends now that we are witnessing as technology organizations around us. And that's firstly, distributed hybrid multi-cloud is becoming the de facto architecture of choice for enterprises and all digital entities. And all the leading industry player behaviors are just reinforcing this trend. And however, with this trend, there continues to be just like tremendous amount of complexity for customers when it comes to building and operating a hybrid multi-cloud, right? A critical element of our of what we do as Equinix is focused on just how do we simplify the adoption, the deployment, and the operation of a hybrid multi-cloud architecture on our platform infrastructure. And as the world's largest data center and interconnection platform, we have more than 215 data centers in 26 countries and 50 plus markets. I would say there are three things that differentiates our platform as a company. So first and foremost, choice. We host, like you said, cloud on-ramps to all major cloud service providers, all the hyperscalers, and many others. And we tend to create these digital ecosystems in our data centers. So our customers have the ability to either connect to hyperscalers or other enterprises that may be part of our platform. The second thing is, I would say, flexibility. We have a product called the Cloud Exchange Fabric, where customers can self-provision flexible cloud connectivity literally within minutes, and you pay for what you consume. You can adjust your bandwidth as needed. You can connect to one or multiple clouds, even clouds across regions, etc. That has been a big interest and a big adopter from a customer standpoint for us. And lastly, and just as importantly, is performance. And I talked about the physics of proximity here. Since we host so many of the cloud on-ramps, customers who typically co-locate with us minimize the physical distance between the clouds and their infrastructure. And this translates into lower network latency, leading to just like better performance, better data transfers, and just you can operate your workloads much better in your hybrid multi-cloud architecture.
Well, I can tell you, my IT organization, Milind, Customer One, NetApp, we love your solutions, right? We firmly embraced them. We built them into our authentic narratives in talking about us and our partner platforms and how we deliver. And I think you know that NetApp offers this global data fabric. I'll call it a virtual infrastructure, right? Whether that's in your private cloud or public cloud, the ability to move data effectively and safely from one place to another, from one cloud to another. How do you think companies like NetApp and Equinix can kind of uniquely partner to deliver this next generation of high-speed access across hyperscalers?
I think both our companies have embraced this hybrid multi-cloud architecture trend, and we are solving different components of this opportunity or challenge, however you look at it. The other trend that I notice is more and more enterprises understandably just want better security and control over their data assets. That could be for compliance reasons, for just your analytics or data protection reasons. So there's a multitude of reasons why all entities just want better control over their data assets. And as going back to the hybrid multi-cloud trend itself, cloud adjacent data stores are absolutely essential for both control and for performance. And so I feel we are trying to go after that opportunity from a platform standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, and NetApp is going after it from a very data management standpoint. We are currently partnered with you in 12 countries to deliver cloud volume solutions to several of our cloud providers. With NetApp as the data and storage leader, with us, with our platform, Equinix as a gateway, I think we are just uniquely positioned to deliver low latency, high bandwidth access, very secure access to a vast ecosystem of clouds and businesses globally. So I'm just excited how complementary our offerings are to solve this bigger challenge in the industry.
Well, that's a great answer. And by the way, like I said earlier, we love it. We think the solutions are fantastically synergistic, and they're very cost-effective solutions. That's what we've experienced as, like you, Milind, we're buyers, right? We have to operate at cost and a value point, and we've seen them to be very cost-effective. So from your perspective as an enterprise CIO, what do you value from your network of suppliers and partners for mission critical delivery and support? What are the things that are most important to you?
CIOs need trusted partners to be successful. And those trusted partners are both sometimes internal stakeholders and sometimes they are external in the form of your suppliers and partners, right? And no CIO is going to be successful just, driving their digital transformation on their own. I value the insights that a particular service provider might bring just based on the experience that they have working and seeing the challenges in other environments and helping me solve our problems. Related to that is the second point I would emphasize is just the long-term trusted strategic partnership, right? That is super important for a big chunk of my service providers, and demonstrating a vested interest in my success beyond the sales transaction is very important. I mean, we've had some of our suppliers who are part of our go live and cut over plans and show up on our go no go calls at 2 a.m. When they don't have to. And those are the kinds of commitment that we really appreciate. These are the people who are not just trying to get you to sign a deal, but they are here for the long term. And then the third thing I would say is business to a large extent is very personal, right? Because you need to have the ability to have relationships with and access to key individuals in the organization, in the supplier organization is very important for us, just from a long-term standpoint. And obviously, there's an implicit assumption that the quality of service and the quality of your product and the reliability is just as important, because I want to make sure that every supplier and partner that is part of my value chain has the same levels of quality and reliability that I expect and I have committed to my customers.
That's a great summary. So let me finish on a similar note. I suspect we not only have salespeople listening in today, we probably have service and support and professional services individuals listening in. So what closing advice would you have for NetApp to bring what I would call increasing customer value in the cloud era? As companies like us try to serve you better, what do we do to help you get there faster, quicker, and in a more satisfactory manner?
As a IT professional, my relationship with NetApp has spanned multiple careers, and it has always been a very reliable and innovative solution provider in all IT environments that I have worked in. I look at NetApp as clearly one of the leaders in the now in this new world as the cloud data management company that will help a lot of enterprises like us internally at Equinix, but not just us, but we have lots of common customers on how do we implement really solid hybrid multi-cloud data management strategies. So if I had to net it out, the biggest thing I would say is you clearly have a very customer centric orientation with your engagement, and we experience that as customers. I would love to see more thought leadership and continue on your innovation and help educate my IT leaders on just the art of the possible with where we can take data management and storage, especially in a hybrid multi-cloud edge world.
I love it. I love closing on the art of the possible in helping educate our customers. That's fantastic, fantastic closing thoughts. Hey, Milind, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate your time and your always insightful views of the business world. But before you go, I do have one more question for you, and that is, what are your predictions for international cricket in a post-COVID-19 world?
Well, the good thing is cricket has not stopped, although audiences have stopped going to cricket stadiums to watch the games. I'm particularly excited to go back and watch a cricket game in action, hopefully very, very soon, and watch India win the World Cup again, which they missed last time, and hopefully I can see that happen one more time.
Well, I sure hope you get to have that wish come true. That sounds like fun. And by the way, my rugby friends have told me they're having a hard time envisioning the virtual scrum. It's probably not likely to happen there either. All right. Hey, great way to
Exactly.
close, Millen. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank our viewers for listening in today. Have a safe, happy, and productive fall season. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.